Last project was a bit overwhelming, but this time around I'm going to go back to basics and we're going to go and make a rune scimitar this time around. The link to the template will be in the description, and without further ado, let's get started. You're going to need a foam board, something to write with, and a box cutter. Acrylic paints or spray cans. For the spray cans you'll need masking tape, and for the acrylic you'll need a brush. A metal ruler, a glue gun, a brown foam sheet, a heat gun, a sanding sponge, and the template. The template includes the full blade and the handle itself. Once you lay out the sheets, cut them out individually and tape them together. I transfer it over to a piece of cardstock. Place the template on top of a piece of foam board and secure it with a thumbtack if you have one. You're also going to trace out two of the handles from the scimitar. The entire build is really reminiscent to the dagger. Once those are traced out, go ahead and cut the foam board halfway so you have a little better angle when you're cutting. If you're painting with the acrylics, go ahead and cut a piece of foam board now so you can use it as an art palette. Start cutting out the pieces slowly. Again, you could go by 3 passes. One over the top sheet, and then one over the foam, and then one through the bottom sheet. There's no need to really rush this step. Just go ahead and do everything slowly and in straight lines. There really isn't anything too curvy here, considering the graphics back then were really jagged. Another tip is to cut in a bit of a diagonal manner. Doing this lengthwise really gives a nice smooth edge. If you're worried about the cuts coming out a bit too round, use a metal ruler to guide you when cutting. This really helps out a lot, especially if you're in a pinch of time. Once those are cut out, go ahead and have the glue gun ready and just put a little bit on the handle. Just press it as smooth as you can to make it seamless. And do the same thing with the other handle. And just like before, if you see any odd angles, go ahead and cut them with your knife or sand them down with a sanding sponge. I decided to go to the spray paint route, so I got some blue masking tape and just put it around the entire handle and just leaving the blade exposed. If you decided to go to acrylic paint route, this step really isn't necessary. It just means you have to have a more steady handle for brush when painting around the handle. When painting the blade of this, you're going to put 2 to 3 layers of white primer throughout the entire sides and the edges as well. When actually painting the blade with the color you desired, go ahead and put very light layers throughout the entire blade and give it drying times about 10 minutes each. Afterwards, you can go ahead and put another layer of paint. 2 to 3 layers is good enough. The end result should end up looking a bit like this, with all the edges and both sides completely covered. Once painting the blade is finished, go ahead and start taking off the masking tape, and you're going to start putting more masking tape on the blade itself to cover that. You don't need to cover the entire blade. At the very least, cover once it starts meeting the actual guard. The rest can be covered by paper or anything that doesn't have paint seep through it. I ended up just using 2 pieces of foam board and I taped that around itself. And you're going to follow the exact same steps with the primer and then the slit layers of paint itself. The final step on this is just going to be getting an actual handle on it. And for that, you're just going to apply the heat gun to the brown foam sheet you have. Afterwards, you'll just measure out two 1 centimeter thick foam strips, and you'll cut them out for the actual guard. Using the metal ruler here really helps out as well. Apply a bit of hot glue around the entire handle and begin wrapping it. If there's anything left over that isn't glued down, just apply a little bit more. Once you wrap it once, go ahead and start wrapping in the diagonal manner. One strip isn't going to make it to the bottom of the handle, so go ahead and glue it where it stopped. Just get the other strip and begin wrapping around that. There's no real technique to it, just continue wrapping it diagonally, and once you get to the bottom, glue it. There's going to be a bit of an excess this time around, so glue just with whatever is left over hanging off, and you'll cut it off. Remember to glue anything that isn't glued down. You really don't want this thing fraying or coming off. You now have a Rune Scimitar. Go ahead and you do whatever you want with it. It's not the most durable thing considering it's made out of foam board, but slicing with it feels pretty good. But yeah, it was pretty fun building it, and I'll be back next week for another build. As always, take it easy.